Hello and welcome to this recorded session of the Ross BBA High School Information Session. My name is Dr. Blaire Moody Rideout, and I'm Director of Admission for the BBA program at the Ross School of Business. And I'm here today to talk about our highly ranked program and curriculum, to provide information on the co-curricular opportunities that our students engage in, to talk about career placement data, and of course to talk about our admissions process and how to apply. So whenever I start this presentation, I like to start with the overall context of the University of Michigan to let students know that they are getting the best of both worlds if they choose to enroll at the Ross School of Business. The University of Michigan is typically ranked within the top 5 for public institutions in the nation, according to U.S. News and World Report. It also has a top 30 world university rank by the Financial Times. And the Ross School of Business is also typically ranked within the top 5 undergraduate business programs for U.S. News and World Report, typically around number 3. And then also we have areas such as management and marketing that are typically number 1 in their field. So the Michigan Ross BBA program is known to be a broad-based management degree where we give students transferable skills through taking a variety of courses. Students are placed in a cohort model, or sections as the students like to call it, of 80 to 90 students where they take those core courses all 4 years. So if we look at this curriculum map here, our first year students typically start taking BA 100, that first year seminar course, and also BCom 250, which is our business communication course. They then move into that core curriculum that second year where they start to take the core courses. So their first accounting course, technology and operations. Then they move junior year with that same cohort to take more of the core curriculum. They also have the ability to study abroad. And then they move into senior year, and by that point they're taking a variety of different electives. When we look at the curriculum overall, a degree at the Ross School of Business for the undergraduate business program is about 120 credits. Half of that is actually business coursework, and the other half are liberal arts courses. So we have that strong foundation in the liberal arts. So students in the BBA program must choose 3 of 4 areas for their liberal arts distribution, that being humanities, social science, natural science, or foreign language. So they choose 3 of those 4 areas to have that solid foundation in the liberal arts. If we look then at the first year, so going back to the first year curriculum, the first year requirements, students must be enrolled full-time in 24 credits. They must enroll in a first year writing course through LSA, through Math 115, so to get their calculus requirement, also Economics 101, and they must take all of those courses with a C or better. And then we go back to the curriculum looking overall at those signature learning experiences, what happens each year. That first year, students engage in BA 100, where we're teaching them the foundations of business. That second year, they have their sophomore seminar course, which is BA 200, where we teach students about the positive difference in business, about leadership, but how to make a positive impact. And then that third year, junior year, they engage with the Ross Integrative Semester. Our students call it RIS, where their 4 core courses are a team-taught approach. So they look at a case study in a different lens for each of the different courses. And also within RIS, an experience would be the ZLI Challenge. ZLI stands for our Zell Lurie Institute for Entrepreneurship, where students that junior year are in a team, and they must pitch a business idea that has a social impact on one of the many societal issues that we face in the world today. And then going into senior year, they have the ability to take a capstone course, or actually it's required to take a capstone course. And there are a variety of different courses that they can take. Most of our students really enjoy the capstone map course, where it's a course that partners with a local business, whether it's close in Ann Arbor or all the way to Detroit, to actually take on a line of business. One of my favorite ones I like to talk about is a local produce store in Ann Arbor, Argus Farm Stop, where students partnered with Argus to create a scalable business. So basically Argus, what they're looking to do is to grow the local agricultural economy. And so they worked with our BBA students to take this business model and maybe do we make it scalable into a franchise model. So we're looking at a mission-driven business and how do we help them scale that to a larger approach. So those are the 4 signature learning experiences that Ross is known for. So in addition to this outstanding curriculum, the Ross School of Business is known for our approach to action-based learning. And how we articulate that is through real Ross experiences and action-based learning. So real start, real invest, real advise, and real lead. So real start. So students have the ability to start their own business. We have the Zell Lurie Institute for Entrepreneurship, which will often host competitions for students to pitch business ideas where they can get funding to actually start their own business. So think of Shark Tank, if you will. If you've always wanted to be on Shark Tank, you can come to the BBA program. You can pitch an idea and we will give you funding to start that business. We give upwards of $25,000 to students to start their own business. Now let's talk about Real Invest. Students can invest real money at the Ross School of Business. We have our TASI Finance and Electronic Lab, so essentially our stock trading floor, where students can take courses to learn about the financial market. They also, though, can do a lot of marketing research in that lab, so it's also for our marketing students. But most often, students are most interested in what they can learn in TASI related to the financial markets. Students can join investment clubs where they can invest real money. And so a couple of years ago, the university gave some of our students, one of our investment clubs, a portion of the university endowment to invest. This was a very scary moment for the university to give some of our undergraduate students money to invest in the market, but our students have done exceptionally well with the guidance of one of our faculty directors. Within TASI, we also have a variety of amazing software that our students can utilize, FactSet and Bloomberg. Many of our students work to get a Bloomberg certification and login. All of our students in the undergraduate program can get a Bloomberg login. That's not always the case at other business schools, so I encourage you to check that out if you're interested in studying finance at Ross. Real Advise. So our students have the ability to consult with companies on real issues they are facing. We often have companies partner with our faculty members to tackle a project, a case study, which might seem hypothetical as they phrase it to the students, but it could turn out to be very real. So our students have that ability to actually work through an issue a company is facing and to provide solutions, which is really building their leadership skills, which takes me to Real Lead. Students have the ability for a variety of different leadership opportunities at the Ross School of Business. I often like to talk about our LBLE course, so Living Business Leadership Experience course, where we partner students with a business. They actually take on a line of business, and they sometimes will lead that aspect for a business. If you think of a lot of small companies, whether it's in Ann Arbor, Detroit, that need extra help and they're not a big corporation, our BBA students are willing to get that real experience while they're in school and for course credit. In addition to the lead experience through Real, Ross Experiences and Action-Based Learning, we have a variety of different student clubs that our students can engage with. We have over 60 clubs at the Ross School of Business just for our undergraduate students. The University of Michigan overall has close to 2,000 clubs, so there's many different ways that students can get involved. Those clubs at Ross, the 60 clubs, are typically very industry focused, whether it's through finance or consulting or an accounting club, but they're also identity based. And one I always like to highlight is our Michigan Business Women Club. And basically that takes young women that are interested in business and we match them up with our MBA female students as mentors to make sure that we are all sharing in that mentorship as our women are progressing and learning about business in their undergraduate curriculum. Some of you, probably most of you, would like to study abroad. When I talk to students about coming to the Ross School of Business, many questions arise related to our global opportunities. So I'm here to tell you that we have many different global opportunities. We have a full study abroad program for our students that typically occurs winter semester of their junior year. We place students at business institutions abroad. These are peer business institutions so that you take course credit and you transfer business course credit back, which is very nice for our students. If a student cannot do a full study abroad for an entire semester, we have plenty of short-term trips where students can have that abroad experience and gain course credit. The short-term abroad trips are very topical in nature. We've taken students to Milan, Italy to study intellectual property law, to Costa Rica to look at ecotourism, to Iceland to look at the effects of global warming on the local economy there, to Chile in South America to look at the wine industry as an emerging market. And then we also go to the big countries like China and India to look at the Chinese or the Indian consumer. Especially in India, we have a focus on e-commerce, which is really starting to boom there. These trips typically happen when we're on break, during winter break, or before the bookends of when the semester ends. So the University of Michigan has, I think, one of the shortest academic years of any institution in the country, and we do take pride in that because typically we're done at the end of April with exams. So students have that full month of May to explore other options before that internship starts June 1st. And that's when we do a lot of those short-term study abroad trips, especially going to China for 2 to 3 weeks or India for 2 to 3 weeks within that format. Whenever I give this presentation, I love to highlight our institutes and centers at the Ross School of Business. We have 21 amazing institutes and centers. These institutes and centers, they focus on a variety of different industries or academic areas. I've already mentioned one, the Zell Lurie Institute for Entrepreneurship, and I also like to talk about our Sanger Leadership Center. Sanger Leadership Center develops leadership skills in our students. And many of our students often talk about the crisis challenge that they participate with the Sanger Leadership Center. So we do not have courses on Fridays, and I joke with our students that is not the time to sleep in from a late night the night before. That is the time to engage with the co-curricular, because many Fridays we have professional development conferences for our students or workshops that are going on that either we host or companies might host. And so the Sanger Leadership Center, they host their Crisis Challenge one Friday in the fall, where students come together and they have to solve a crisis. And this is typically a very large crisis that a large company is facing. And we have our students take on the role as the executive board for that company. We place them into groups, we give them the crisis, they have to work on it all day long. And true to Ross, we make it as real as it can be. So at the end of that day on Friday, when students go into the boardroom to present, we have some of our alumni come back that are actually on boards themselves or in executive positions to provide feedback to our students. And to make it even more real, we hire local actors in Ann Arbor that stand outside of that boardroom before you go in there, and they kind of act as, their hecklers or they're picketing to get you ready for that emotional sort of environment that you might face when you handle a crisis as a leader. Now we know that our BBAs, when they go out into the workforce that first 3 to 5 years, they're not going to be handling a large crisis as an executive. But at the University of Michigan, we always talk about the leaders and best. And we truly believe that we are preparing the next generation of leaders. So one day you will be in that leadership role and you will have to handle a crisis, and we want to ensure that you are ready. Now, our current students tell us that the leadership crisis actually prepares them for the job market. So when they're on campus, they're often interviewing with that really nice HR person about the company to get a feel for the culture of the company. But then when they fly out for that interview with the company, or the super days as our students call it, they're meeting with the executive or a managing director, someone that will supervise them. And so the questions become much more directed to the student on what their knowledge of the industry. And our students will tell us, the Sanger Leadership Crisis was a great preparation for me because here I am taking a firing squad of all of these questions, and I know how to slow down, how to compose myself, and to answer questions. Even though I might not really know what I'm talking about, I know how to answer their questions. And so again, that's part of the co-curricular that our students have the opportunity to engage with outside of the classroom. The faculty at the Ross School of Business are amazing. It's the reason we are so highly ranked. And as you see here on this slide, 75% of our students will engage in a consulting project, and that is often with a faculty member. So I like to talk with our students every year about their experience in class with a faculty member. And a faculty member they always typically point to is Professor Sherry Alexander, who's one of our clinical faculty members at Ross. So at Ross, we have faculty members that have the tenure, the academic, the PhDs. They are the academic experts in their fields. They write in the journals. They're often talked about in news media when you look at an article and someone is quoted. And then we have our clinical faculty members that have 30 or more years of experience that are the experts in their area, their industry. And so Professor Sherry Alexander is a clinical faculty member that worked at General Motors here in Detroit for a number of years. And Sherry at the time was one of the highest ranked females at General Motors. So she took it upon herself to mentor the women that were rising through the ranks. And one of those women she mentored that became very close with is actually Mary Barra, who's now CEO of General Motors and considered to be one of the most powerful women in business. And to think that we have Mary's mentor on faculty is a pretty cool thing. Now, Mary's quite busy, but she does make it a point to come back every year to Sherry's class, to Professor Alexander's class, to help co-teach a lecture, to do a workshop, just to answer questions from students. And then often at the end of the year, for the students that are graduating and going off to work at General Motors, Mary will come and take them out to lunch. So it's a pretty cool thing that we have faculty members with that clinical experience for 30 plus years experience in the workforce as executives, and then also our academic faculty members with the tenure, those PhDs that are the academic experts that sit on many boards of corporations and also write for many different academic journals. So you have to think and you have to know that our students do really well with career placement. It's because of the curriculum, it's because of our faculty, it's because of the co-curricular experiences, but it's also because of our career development office. Our career development office, they provide coaching, they provide workshops, they provide mentoring, they provide a lot of different resources for our students. We have peer coaches that are upperclassmen, so maybe our senior BBA students, that will help and assist students through the recruitment process that might be sophomore or juniors that are just starting to look for that internship. And we also have our professional full-time staff that will work with our students. It's everything from meeting individually to do a resume to all the way to doing a mock interview. And our peer coach program is really special because those senior year BBAs that just had that internship, they can tell that junior that is now applying for that internship, they can tell them exactly how the interview went, maybe even what the room looked like, the people they met with, because they are the closest to that interview situation. So we rely a lot on our students to assist with that career process. We also have an amazing group of people in the career development office that meet with executives and recruiters across the country at the big corporations to find the jobs. And we bring those jobs back to the Ross School of Business for students to interview. So recruiting, let's talk about recruiting. Many of our students will have the opportunity to do recruiting on campus at the Ross School of Business, where they have a variety of different jobs they can drop their resume for and then meet with the HR person. If all goes well, they're then typically flown out to the company for that more formal interview to make sure that everything fits. Top careers that our students go into. So typically, finance, consulting, and marketing. And you'll see here on the slide all the different industries that our students go into. Now, I always like to talk about finance. Finance is broad. It's not all financial services or investment banking in New York City. We have a large presence in corporate finance, and students are going out to companies like Boeing in Seattle for corporate finance. Consulting, students work at a variety of different companies in a consulting role. Marketing, students might work for a very large company such as Procter & Gamble to work on a brand management team, or also a company like Kraft. And then if you look at the other industries, I often like to highlight accounting. Accounting is a bit deceiving there with that low percentage because we actually have a very large presence with the accounting firms. Students just need to stay a fifth year, if you will, to complete our Master of Accounting program to get to 150 credits to be a CPA, to sit for that Certified Public Accounting exam, so that they can then go on and work in an accounting field. So often students will stay that fifth year to do that Master of Accounting program. When our students land that job, typically after the internship, they are spread out across the country. So we are the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. We're located in the Midwest, but we have a large presence or spread where students actually go for careers. East Coast, of course, New York City, a lot of financial services there. Also here locally, in Detroit, just an hour away, I talked about General Motors and the big auto industry. Chicago, of course, but all the way to San Francisco and also Seattle. So students are spread in a variety of different areas. The median salary for our student is around $78,000. When I talk about that number or show that slide, parents, you love that slide because you know what that means to have that money in your pocket or that salary, that starting salary. And students, you'll get it one day. But in addition to that $78,000, I also like to highlight that some of our students that are going into financial services in San Francisco or New York are often hitting offers of six figures and receiving signing bonuses. So it's pretty exceptional where the students land and also how much they're wanted by these companies that they're willing to pay such a great starting salary. So now we've come to the point in the presentation where I get to talk about admission. By this point, you're probably thinking, oh, this is great. I love everything I hear about the Ross School of Business. Now tell me how to apply, how to get in. So when you apply to the University of Michigan, you apply through your common application or the coalition application. And we are a 2-tier review process. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you first pick a first-year admitting unit to apply to, and then you choose the Ross School of Business for preferred admission. We still have a direct admit offer or enrollment option, but you apply first, you pick that first-year admitting unit. So if you look at this slide here, it shows you if you choose the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts, the College of Engineering, School of Kinesiology, Music, Theater, and Dance, or Art and Design, it shows you whether you are considered a direct admit or a preferred admit. The direct admit option is through the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts. So if you know that you want to enroll at Ross that first year on campus, you are applying to the University of Michigan for a business degree, you should be choosing the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts and choosing preferred admission for the Ross School of Business. If you are admitted to both, your admission offer to LSA, you forfeit that and you enroll at the Ross School of Business as a first-year student. You, of course, have the ability to add on a major through a dual degree with LSA later in your career and to engage in one of the variety of different minors that the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts offers. If you choose one of the other programs listed there, you are a preferred admit student, and you do not start in the Ross School of Business until your second year on campus. So at the University of Michigan, it's all about your home school, where you are that first year. And the College of Engineering or the School of Music, Theater, and Dance and those other units represented there, they have a very structured curriculum, and it's often really good for you to start in that department or school or college first, and then you come to the Ross School of Business the following year. So you have preferred admission, provided that you meet your admission requirements, which include maintaining a 2.5 GPA or higher. When you apply to the University of Michigan and the Ross School of Business, on your common application or coalition application, towards the end of that application, it will take you to a requirement unique to the Ross School of Business, which is the Ross Admissions Portfolio. So why did we implement this portfolio? We implemented it because there was feedback from high school students like yourself that you wanted to provide additional information. High achieving students have a lot of different awards and accolades in high school. And we were getting that through supplemental information, which we loved receiving that information, but there was no formal way to value this in the admissions process. So we created the Ross Admissions Portfolio so that you could submit something unique to you. And that is the artifact component of the Ross Admissions Portfolio. So think about your 4 years of high school. What are you most proud of? That is what you submit. And think about what you're going to submit. It doesn't have to be business related. It doesn't have to be something in the classroom. On our website, we have a whole page dedicated to resources on the Ross Admissions Portfolio. We even show highlights of different portfolio artifacts that were exceptional in the review process. And one of those I like to highlight is the student that submitted the comment section of their personal blog. Now, their personal blog was a blog about academics, what they were learning in high school. I think food blogs and fashion blogs are great too. It's not about the what that you submit, but more the why and what you learn through the process. So this student, she submitted her personal blog, and there was a blog post called The Aesthetics of Calculus that our faculty review committee loved. Because here was this student learning something in high school, then going home, and her brain couldn't stop thinking, so she had to write about it. And when we on the admissions committee always say to students, show us your thirst for knowledge, your desire to learn. And high school students look back at us and they're thinking, well, what is that? Well, that's what this is. This student right there was exhibiting a desire for knowledge because she would go home and she continued to write about what she was learning within her classroom. That's very unique. That's not a business plan. That's not a project. Think about what defines you and what you're most proud of, and that is what you submit for your artifact. The other component to the Ross Admissions Portfolio is the business case discussion. So at business schools, we do a lot of case analysis. We want to know how you solve problems. So for the business case discussion, you're picking an issue local to you and your community, you're pulling out the business implications, and then providing us solutions. Essentially, it's an exercise in critical thinking so that we can see how you think through something and solve a problem. And so that is what the Ross Admissions Portfolio is. When you submit your common application or coalition application, the link is posted at the bottom, and you can also find the link for that on our website. The admission timeline for the University of Michigan for early action decisions will be at the end of January for 2021 for this year. Once you're admitted to the University of Michigan, that first year admitting unit we talked about, your application is then forwarded to my team. We have a group of phenomenal application readers that will read your application multiple times, and then it will come to our admission review committee for final decisions. Our final decisions will be released February through April. And a tip for all of the students out there, I have a pretty popular blog post that comes out every January where we list the exact dates and times we will release decisions. So you know what Friday it is, what Friday at 5 o'clock when the first round will come out, so that you don't have to log on every Friday to see if a decision is coming out. We think transparency is really important in our admissions process, and that is why we share those dates with you on our Ross Undergraduate Admissions blog. So what do we look at when we review an application? Academics, extracurricular involvement, clear reasons for applying as dictated in your essays, and then the Ross admissions portfolio. So academics, we're looking for a strong GPA and rigorous curriculum. If your high school offers honors courses or AP courses or IB courses, you should be taking those and doing well and getting a very strong GPA. We will look to see if you've taken a quantitative course as well. We're looking for calculus, but pre-calculus often works for us too. Extracurricular involvement. We're looking for active over passive involvement. How do you contribute to that activity, to your local community, to your high school environment? We're not always looking for a long list of activities, but we're looking for commitment and where you have deep passion and longevity. And it doesn't have to be a leadership position. Everyone thinks I have to be president of a club. Leadership is not always positional. You can be involved within a committee, and you have space within your application to tell us about what you do and your impact through that extracurricular activity. The essays. We're looking for clear reasons for applying to the Ross School of Business. That Michigan supplement essay, and let me tell you, we read all of your essays. But that Michigan supplement essay is truly important for you to talk about the Ross School of Business. A key to that is talk about you. Sorry, Mom and Dad, but don't talk about Mom and Dad and the conversations you have at the dinner table, and now that's why you want to study business. It's not what we're looking for. We're looking for that reflective moment on why you want to study business. Was it through a course you had in your high school? Was it through an experience? Something you learned about yourself? It is a reflective essay where you talk about you. And then, of course, we're looking for the Ross admissions portfolio. The portfolio for us is very important. It shows your interest and intent for a business degree and also shows us something truly unique about yourself that is more than a number, more than a test score number. And I say that again, more than a test score number, because our process is very holistic and we're looking at a variety of different factors. So after you've been admitted to the program, May 1st is the deadline you need to remember. That is the deadline to pay your enrollment deposit. You can, of course, pay that enrollment deposit as early as you would like, because it often triggers next steps to enroll as a student. It triggers your University of Michigan email address, orientation registration, your application for housing, and also an application for our Living Business Theme community, where we have a small group of first-year students that will live together in a residence hall and will learn about the business through co-curricular experiences. Now, as I start to end this presentation, I always like to talk about the additional programs that we offer for our students at the Ross School of Business. You might be listening to this presentation today and you're thinking, I'm not sure if I want a full undergraduate business degree. And that's okay. We have minors that you can engage with, our business minor, our entrepreneurship minor. All of our elective courses are open to all students across campus. We have a Capo sales track, which is a variety of marketing courses. And then we have 3 one-year master's programs. For some of our students, they really want that liberal arts base and would like to pursue a degree in the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts, and then look at Ross. For our one-year master's programs, such as our one-year Master of Management program, our Master of Supply Chain Management program, or that Master of Accounting that I talked about before, which is also very popular for our BBA students that want to go into accounting. So there are many different ways that our students can have a Ross School of Business experience that are beyond the BBA. As I end my presentation, I want to encourage you to engage with us. If you go to our website, under the Visit Ross tab on our website, you'll learn about the different information sessions that we do live. You'll learn about the ways that you can schedule an appointment with one of our staff members or one of our current student BBA ambassadors. And we also have drop-in hours Monday through Friday, every day of the week, whether it's in person when we're allowed to, or virtual. Students can drop in to ask us any questions they might have. So I really encourage you to engage with us. We know that the college admissions process can be overwhelming, and so we are here for you. We're here to serve as a resource for you and to answer those questions, which is why we have many opportunities beyond listening to this session for you to feel that you are well equipped to apply to the Ross School of Business and the BBA program. So I wish you all well. Whenever I end this session, I of course have to do a Go Blue. I hope there are some alums maybe in the audience that are watching this with their child. And if you could do this with me, do the big fist pump. Go Blue. Thank you.